is such a great event. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to you all. I know everybody's thinking, finally, tech diligence. That's what we came here for, right? That $1 billion stuff, that's cool, but tech diligence is really where it's at. So we're gonna go pretty quick. So real quick, why am I talking about this? I've been a fractional CTO for 23 years now. Been a part of a firm for the last 8. And in that time, we've done over 200 tech diligence projects. So we've learned a thing or two. Hopefully some of the things that we talked about today, I'm not going for the obvious things that everybody knows about, what you're looking for, but maybe some of the things that aren't as obvious that we've learned in doing this. The first one, this is an obvious one, right? Be prepared. You know, it seems so obvious, but it's remarkable how many times we get into a conversation and we're start to dig in. And the company doesn't have just the basic stuff. You know, they don't have basic architecture diagrams or basic, just inventories of what they have. And so it's hard to kind of get a good inventory of what's going on. So how do they know what to do? How do they know what to be prepared for? One, we're going to tell them. So that's one thing. But anyway, I was curious what ChatGPT would say about it. So I asked, and ChatGPT actually gives you a very good outline of what you might want to have ready for that. Part of the process with being prepared is that you can't fake it. Like if you don't know the answer, don't make it up. We're going to find out, so just be open, be transparent, be honest. If you don't have something, that's fine. I think a good corollary that kind of probably applies across a lot of diligence is that a problem with a plan generally is not a problem. So if you have an issue, but you have something where you say, yeah, we know we've got some tech debt here, we know we've got some architecture problems, but here's our plan. We started this, we're working on, here's a 3-step plan, we're gonna be done by this time. That's a workable thing. Part of the issue sometimes is the CTO is not brought into the fold of the transaction. So they do come in a little bit cold. They haven't had a chance to prepare. That's kind of interesting in and of itself. Like if your CTO is not somebody that you trust enough to bring into the fold on the deal that's happening, that's kind of an interesting observation of look. But be prepared. No access to source code is a problem. So a lot of companies we work with, we'll get down to the part where we're going to start looking into code, and they say, well, we're not going to share that. Okay, why not? Well, we don't share our code. It's our intellectual property. We're afraid somebody's going to take it and do something. So first of all, if it's that easy to replicate your company by somebody being able to have access to your code and they can go stand up in a company and compete with you, that's an issue. The other thing is, it's not really practical. You likely have a development team halfway around the world with developers who you may not even know their names. They have access to your source code. They work from home in countries far away. What are the policies of that company's security in terms of keeping that stuff protected? So to have it where there's a concern about sharing it with us, we're under NDA. We're not going to do anything with your source code. It would put us out of business if we did. So and from a PE side, encouraging this early on in the process, because a lot of times what happens is you get to the point of the tech diligence, which is at the end of the cycles, and then this question comes up for the first time. And so then it's like it's too late. Nobody wants to push it at that point. Deal fatigue is starting to set in. So ask for it up front, make sure the company's willing to share that, because we really can't do a good job, as good of a job with that. Okay, now to clarify on this one, a weak security program is not typically a deal killer. Now that does not mean that security is not important. Security is hugely important. Like Zane was saying yesterday, if you have an issue during the transaction, if you have a breach of some kind, disasters. But 9 times out of 10, if a company doesn't have a great security program in place, that's not a deal killer because it's fixable. There's very few things in the tech diligence world that are pretty easily fixable. This is one. So you can hire somebody from the outside. It doesn't take a ton of resource from your team. You can get this done without a lot of stress. Helicopter CEOs. So this is actually one of the bigger problems that we see, is if the CEO, so typically the way it should go is, we have some intro calls, we're digging in, the CTO and maybe somebody from their team is talking, and they're working with us on looking into the code. If there's a CEO that has to be in every meeting, there's a CEO that is answering all the questions, if the CEO is trying to control the narrative of what's coming back, that's a question. We recently did a deal where we brought that up as a concern, and it had been a concern, we didn't know that. It had been a concern from the firm all the way along, and that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. So let your tech person do the tech one. This is pretty obvious. Lots of tech debt, bad architecture are hard things to come over. You don't have a plan, you don't have a clear path to how you're going to get that taken care of. That's really hard to overcome because it's a really hard thing to figure out how much risk there is, how much it's going to take to fix that. And if they're asking me, I'm going to aim high because I don't want them to come back to me and say, oh, you only said it's going to take $500,000 to fix this. So, it's a very tough thing to figure out exactly how much it's going to be from an impact perspective. So again, if you have that kind of a situation, know it ahead of time and have a plan. Not just the science, there's a lot of art to this. It's difficult to just have a regular tech person come in and do a tech diligence. I don't know if you know this, but tech people are sometimes critical. Everything they see that somebody else did is shit. So they're going to come in and say, no, this is no good. So there's a lot of art to it in terms of getting the right answers out of people and how you approach it. Just got to be aware of that. And the last point is it's not a decision point. It is a decision point, but 9 times out of 10, it's not a decision point. It's a roadmap. If you're not doing tech diligence, you're betting on the team, you're not really putting a lot of effort into it, there's a huge opportunity that's being missed because this is going to put a roadmap together that helps the company ensure the technical success. When else are you going to have that opportunity? When else is that company going to come back and have that much introspection on what's going on? It's not until there's a huge problem. So the opportunity that you have to do this up front, get it done while the deal's happening, and you have a roadmap for success. That's my contact information. If anybody has questions about that, maybe it's questions about technology, about problems in our development organization, or how we get product developed, or why does it cost so much, or why we have so many bugs, or why can we go along with the CDO, I am happy to help. I love the spirit of service here, so I would offer that. I'm happy to sit with you and talk through any of those kind of challenges.
And you've done that a lot before, so thank you, bro.
Appreciate you.